Cool.
Hi, folks. Bob Mallory here. Listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Week Roundup. Obviously, myself, Jake Friel, Tom Arnone, Steve Reichel down below, and also special guest, former Eagles running back, former Broncos running back, two-time Super Bowl champion, special guest, Vaughn Hebron. How you doing, Vaughn?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Good. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so first things first, obviously, before we start every show, let's get a word from our sponsor. We are brought to you by our doc, Make 'em Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton locations. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Our poll question is also brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK Services.com. Call Michael Ambrose, tell him A2D sent you. Need gutter guards, anything done outside your house, Michael Ambrose has got you covered. Tell him A2D sent you, ambuckservices.com. And our poll question before we lead up to the interview with Vaughn Hebron is Jason Peters' potential return to the Eagles is a red flag for Andre Dillard. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Vaughn, you want to take that one right from the start?
Yeah, let Vaughn take that one. Let's see this one. Yes.
A red flag for Andre Dillard. I mean, I would have to agree. I mean, you know, if Peters comes back, that's an issue. That's an issue in that. And so, I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peters is a guy that, when healthy, he's a guy that we've relied on for years. We know what we bring to the table, but you know, I definitely think it's a red flag.
Yeah, I completely agree with Vaughn. I mean, you draft a guy, you trade up for a guy, and that's your left tackle of the future. And I think everybody here was good with it, right? I mean, you build on your offense and defensive lines. You know, we see the recipe for success in the NFL. I have zero problem when it comes to Howie Roseman drafting linemen. I think it's something he's usually pretty good at.
Mm-hmm.
And I give this organization a ton of credit when it comes to the building up front. But you know, I'm never going to say a guy's a miss. We've seen the likes of Brandon Graham get it together later on in a career and figure it out. I think there's a ton of great vets in this locker room to help young guys grow. But again, it's definitely a red flag. I mean, I love Jason Peters. You know, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best left tackles I've seen in my time watching football. And I would love to have him back because I know what he brings to this locker room. But then again, it's a huge red flag. You know, I don't draft the guy in the first round. It's fine not to play in year one. But first round, second round guys got to be able to play. And they can't, and if they're not able to play, then I got to start questioning the guy drafting him. So, yeah, it's a huge red flag.
Yeah, obviously, I just building off what Tommy and Vaughn said. I have to agree because for me, what does it say about the team's confidence? And obviously, we know there were a couple reports circulating that his mental side, for whatever reason, just they say he isn't there mentally. I don't know necessarily what that means, if he's just not mentally into the game or just he's not mentally tough enough to just, I guess, step up at that position. But again, at the same time, we saw him for 3 straight games. We saw him play well against Khalil Mack and against I can't remember the other teams off the top of my head. Obviously, you shifted him to the right side. That didn't go as well, nearly as well. But at the same time, like I said, I have to agree. Bringing Jason Peters back, 39 years old, and if the Eagles have more faith in a 39-year-old, obviously Hall of Fame left tackle than a rookie that you traded up for in the first round, then that's a major concern for me.
But also, I definitely agree because I said it earlier. I definitely think from his standpoint, it is a red flag, his development and what they see, obviously, internally. But at the same time, Eagles, which I applaud, they have been in a mode where they're always trying to do things to win now. You know, because and obviously it's you're walking that tightrope where win now, but also make sure you're ready for the future. But they always been in the mode. When I say always, meaning since Peters has gotten there, win now, and I can appreciate that. So you can never have enough quality vets, and then obviously a guy of Peters' talent in your camp. You can't. So if they think Peters is a guy that if nothing else, if Dillard can still learn from him while he's actually playing, that's that could be a feather in the whole organization's cap. Because again, if Peters is in a position, and obviously they think they can get him back in a cheaper position as well, why not have him on your roster? Because if he's healthy, I still think he's going to be the better selection than Dillard right now, even in his development. And Dillard can obviously learn. And or if you move him on the other side, we could be better for it.
No, I completely agree. To have that guy here and just to be deeper, right? Just to be deeper. So, Peters does go down, you have that guy in Andre Dillard, and he continue to learn from him. If you don't think he's ready, listen, I owe it to and Howie said it on draft day, even though I don't agree with the second round pick at that time, but Howie said he owes it to his fan base to win now, right? And I'm all good with it. We're all good with it. So if you're in win now mode, right, and you're not confident in your left tackle, you're blindside for the guy you just gave all your money to, then you got to make sure that you have a backup plan there. And if it's Jason Peters, a guy that we know things are going to be short in this offseason, so a guy who's comfortable with what's going on here, I'm fine with it. It just, but again, I lack some confidence in Dillard a little bit. But again, we see guys figure it out as they get older and become a little bit more of a veteran in the league. They start to figure things out. Maybe Peters can help them.
And you never know when that light's going to go on. And again, most of us we learn visually. You know what I mean? So the more you can have a quality vet in front of you actually doing it as opposed to telling you is always a benefit. And again, I will never knock an organization for being in a win now mode. To me, that's what it's about. Win now. Too many times we talk about tomorrow or next year or the year after. Win now and then figure it out.
And my thing is, I don't think it's a red flag for the fact that if it's not him starting, it's not really an issue. If he's a guy that's a role player there, it's not a big deal, really. Is it really a red flag if he's not going to be starting? If he's going to be there to help Andre Dillard?
Okay.
It's an interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not starting, then no, it's not a red flag. If you just want to be deeper there, like I said, then it's not a red flag at all. It's just,
But also, you got to think, we lost Big V in the offseason. You don't really replace him. You didn't really see them replace him in the draft. So maybe he is just a guy to just in case someone goes down. Maybe Andre isn't performing well. Maybe somebody to help Andre with these mental issues that may be there, may not be there. We don't know yet. He is a guy that is we know him in the locker room. We know what he does. His organization is going to try to retain him even when he does retire in some manner, regardless if it's coach or front office. So why not already keep putting him back in the building if you can?
Right.
Agree. I want to stay on there on another question because we're talking about Andre Dillard, Jason Peters, and we also heard Howie Roseman talk about this brand new quarterback factory that he built here in Philadelphia. I think he's taking a little bit of credit from Andy Reid on that. I don't really recall Howie being a group that's developed a ton of quarterbacks, and maybe I missed it. I don't know. But, I mean, I trust Doug when it comes to developing quarterbacks. But Howie's sort of taking credit for Andy stuff that I just can't buy into. But I'm all for, hey, you gotta have a good backup quarterback on this route. We've seen it. I'm a Carson Wentz believer. I'm a supporter. I'm going to drink that Kool-Aid until the Kool-Aid's done. But at the end of the day, we've seen it. So you got to give yourself and your organization that. But that being said, he did trade up last year with the Baltimore Ravens to select Andre Dillard. Now, my question to Vaughn is, if we're going to be a quarterback factory, why not even make that move last year and just stay home, draft Lamar Jackson, and then now build your quarterback factory that way instead of Jalen Hurts, which I don't know how you feel about it, Vaughn. I want your opinion on this too. At the NFL level, he's not ready to throw the football, in my opinion, but definitely a big-time athlete. So sort of your thoughts on should they stay home and drafted Lamar Jackson? And then your thoughts on you like the selection of Jalen Hurts at 53?
Which one you want me to take first?
Either or.
All right. Two things. First of all, with the pick last year, or people can talk that all day, but until they saw it work, and when I say it worked, meaning what Baltimore did, first and foremost, they made a commitment to Lamar Jackson, And that commitment was when they got rid of Flacco and said, this is now your program and we're going to build around you. You can't put in words how much that means to any player. Because I'm just talking about just from an individual, personal standpoint, when someone puts that type of faith in you, says you're our guy, from a psychological thing, that you can't put a price on that.
Right.
And you can see Lamar just rise up when he says they believe in me and they think I can do this. Let's face it, very few organizations, if ever, were willing to do that. So now they saw that it works. Now you're going to see a lot of people talk about, oh, well, yeah, this is what we're going to do. That's why they didn't do the Lamar Jackson thing last year, because nobody believed in it. People forget, we're talking about Lamar now, who's MVP, but it's not that long ago where people talk about wide receiver and all that. So let's not forget that. It's so funny how people talk that now, but they said the same words you said. He's not NFL ready. I don't know if he's able to throw the ball. But again, I always go back to, and I don't think many people realize this, where when you look at quarterbacks that come in, the ones that you can make most comfortable early, all right? Because let's face it, if they're being drafted, they've shown you something, right? A skill set is there. But if you're not comfortable and you're thinking more than you're reacting, it's not going to go well. I don't care what position. I don't care what player. So the minute you can make them comfortable, how do you make them comfortable? Put them in a system that they shined in. Too many times over the years, and I don't care what quarterback, if they shined on a college level, and then all of a sudden you bring them to the NFL level and you make them do something that's totally different than what they've been successful in, how many people are going to be successful in that type of arena? So what they did was they built around his strength. And all you're seeing is the Lamar Jackson that we saw at the college level. That is the key. That is the key. So when you say Jalen Hurts, yeah, if you have Jalen Hurts come in and you say, Jalen, I want you to be a West Coast quarterback where you're dinking and dunking, yeah, he's gonna have a hard time transitioning. But if you put Jalen Hurts in the same situation that he did in Oklahoma and in some spurts at Alabama, you're gonna see a different Jalen Hurts. So I like the pick. Just because to me, one of the things that I did like what Howard said is you can't put enough quality people on your roster. So it's first and foremost, let's start there. He's not a guy that he's shown through history where he's going to do what the coach asked him to do, and he's going to do what's best for the team. So you're not going to hear gripes and this and, little backhand stuff. So that's going to be good for Wentz. At the same time, he seems like a quality individual every level he's been at. And I think they're going to have a playbook for him where it's going to be condensed, and this is what you do, this is what you're good at, and that's what we're going to keep you at. And I think he's going to be successful doing it.
Yeah, I agree. Like not under center, RPOs, stuff like that, stuff that he's ran in college. Same thing I think Cincinnati needs to do with Barrow. A lot of no back sets. I mean, something he was comfortable with at LSU. So you're spot on, obviously, about putting guys in situations where they can succeed.
Too many times all of a sudden this guy's been a circle all his career, and now all of a sudden we're saying we need you to fit into this square. I don't care who you are. You're not going to be successful in that scenario.
Right.
No, you're not.
You had what was the quarterback that just retired from the Colts?
Luck.
Andrew Luck, yeah.
Andrew Luck. I think people forget. Do you understand that Indianapolis, his first year, and I think his first 5 years, they bought his offensive coordinator from Stanford. You cannot put a price on that type of comfort. You don't. It takes the thinking out of it. Now what you're great at, we're telling you to go be great at. That's all they did with Lamar Jackson, and you can see the more comfortable he got this past draft. They drafted around all his strengths. They gave him what he needed, and the rest is history.
No, yeah, I agree. And I think from last year, what we saw at the end of the year with Carson and, rallying the troops with I always say, like, guys like myself playing wide receiver, like, everybody was down. Everybody was down. And there was a point of time where I don't know if this locker room believed in him anymore. I don't know. I'm not in there, so I can't guarantee one way or the other. But
I think sometimes the noise out of the media, one thing I do know, and it's funny, like I talk about the media. I've been at least part of media for almost 20 years. But I know inside that locker room, it could be so many things said outside the locker room, and they're laughing because they're like, you have no clue. And it's kind of like you think about your household, where Facebook or Instagram is showing one thing from the household, and you can be fighting like cats and dogs, but on the picture, y'all kissing, talking about "I love you, boo."
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you never know what's going on in that locker room until you're in the locker room.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we might see one thing or it's being said, but it might be all love. And I get a sense. One thing you can't is you can tell from the play. You know what I mean? If it's genuine and if it's all love, most of the time it's going to eventually shine, especially in crucial moments.
yeah, I agree.
Now, Vaughn, here's the thing.
So my only question was, you think if there was the doubt in that locker room, what he was able to accomplish over the last 4 or 5 games of the season, carry them, show teams, hey, I'm good enough myself to carry everybody around me. That's what greatness does. They elevate everybody around them. So you think that changed it, obviously?
Oh, I definitely agree. That's what I'm saying. But it was no way they would have been able to accomplish what they did towards the end of the season if it wasn't love in that locker room for Wentz.
Love it. And I think that's why the Jalen Hurts pick, and I was saying the other day, he doesn't feel like he has to look over his shoulder anymore.
And also, that's a two-way street, meaning Wentz got to show belief in them young receivers for them to make plays for him like that as well. You understand? So that's all. It goes both ways on that.
Now, one thing I wanted to add off of that, like with the Hurts pick happening, and what happened with Carson last year, does now he have to have a big year? He has to take another leap forward, regardless of what he's already done last year, what he's done in 17. He has to take another step. He has to be from above average to he has to be elite now, regardless if he wants to be or not.
Oh yeah, well, let's face it. It's the NFL, baby. It's about which have you done lately. So, regardless of what he believes, that's what you got to do. Every year, you got to take it to another level, and that's what his goal should be. If he's trying to reach the heights that I think we all agree that Wentz is capable of, you got to move that bar every year. You got to, because let's face it. One thing I know, in my training and all that. If you're shooting for the same spot, you're sliding down.
Mm-hmm.
It's no way to go to the same level. You got to reach higher just to go even. So that has to be his mindset each and every year. For that matter, each and every week during the season, he should be looking to improve and become better. And I think, right now, let's face it, it's no way in the world that his psyche couldn't have been a little shaken from the last 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, so I think last year was to get back his mental stability. It went a long way. That it's my team, and now let's start it new. So some of them demons, I think he will be without this year, just starting the season off.
Yeah, which I think we all love to hear too. And guess what? Competition is a good thing at any level. I'm a fan of competition. I'm a huge fan, no matter what position. So whenever you get complacent, that's when you fail. So if somebody's always pushing you a little bit more, I didn't think that makes greatness better. If you're going to be great, I think it just helps.
I agree, but it's also a fine line when you're talking about, and I know. Look, it's one thing competing. But it's another thing if your mistakes are going to happen. So when you feel as though you got to look over your shoulder all the time, that is not the environment you want to create. Does that make sense? Like, because you want to throw it free and clear and be able to make mistakes. Because when you believe that, and let's face it, we're talking about professionals here. You don't want to make mistakes, but at the same time, you should have the ability to make mistakes
and not feel like the guy's coming in.
Exactly.
You know,
And
because you have a quarter and a half that's slow.
I still think
now you're not, when that window opens up. Well, I should say before that window opens up, you're letting the ball go, as opposed to waiting for this clear window that never happens. And in NFL, by the time you wait for a clear window, that's a pick. You understand? That's what happens when you're constantly hearing, these rumblings in the back. And that's a fine line. Because think about the greats. The greats were able to make mistakes. That's a fact. I'm gonna throw a pick, and I come off the field and that's my fault, but it's nothing else said. But when you are scared to make mistakes, that's not a good environment. I don't care what you're talking about. It's no different than raising your kids. Mistakes are gonna happen, right? You tell them about it, you address it, and depending on the kid, you address it first or you address it last.
Right.
But it gets addressed. But when they're scared to death to make mistakes or you come at them hard, that's not a good formula.
I mean, it's another thing in this city, like we're talking about, like Carson needs to perform, but are we just in this loop where we're just always going to have a quarterback question controversy? Like it just seems like it's always going to be here.
Well, I think the loop is until he makes it through a whole season healthy. That's because think about it. If Carson wouldn't have got hurt 2 years ago, was it 3 years ago, what have you, with the run, we wouldn't be talking about this loop. Nobody was calling for Foles before Carson went down.
Right.
Let's not get it twisted. And so people care. I'm not a big Foles fan, so I know that's blasphemy, but
not here it is. Not here.
Okay, we all talk about a guy that just got $50 million and they still trade his butt.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's not me getting started. But all of a sudden,
here's another thing people forget about. Here's another thing. Foles gets hurt just as much, if not more, than Carson did.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
people forget that?
Oh, I don't even get quiet here. It's all day. But my point is, nobody was calling for Foles before that, right? Carson's injuries. So until he makes it through a full season, that will be the issue. And guess what? This year, if Carson is playing the way Carson can play, you won't hear no gripes there. You won't. But he has to stay healthy. You have to stay healthy.
No, he does. He does. That's why I'm worried about them.
It's that fine line. It's that fine line to be him also. Because to be him, that is, making plays and ad-libbing.
That's out of the pocket,
yep. You're walking that delicate line.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of us were, I don't want to say upset with the pick, because we all liked Jalen Hurts as a kid. He's a great locker room guy.
I know exactly what you mean.
When you want to build a culture, he's the culture guy to me, Jalen Hurts. And I love that fact that he's not going to be that outspoken one or do any of that stuff. But with everything we've dealt with over the last X amount of years with the Folesian society, and then me feeling like I got to defend my kid and Carson Wentz constantly, it's gotten tiresome to the point where it divided the fan base, which is ridiculous. And now I feel like we're sort of getting back there again. And that was my only gripe with the pick in the second round, is just that conversation comes right back.
It's funny. That was my first thoughts. And, a little different because I am a Jalen Hurts fan. But that was my first thoughts too. But at the same time, if you looked at Jalen's track record, and let's face it, it was all out there to see. You look at the Alabama situation, he could have made a stink. You know what I mean? You're being replaced in the national. Let's face it, he was in the national championship. So somebody got him there. And, and him being replaced in that situation, never making gripes, and then him having to come back during the playoff run and basically get them back into the championship with his play at the end. Him never make, and then when he transferred, never said a bad word. I mean, questions were asked for him. It was set up for him to make some kind of stink, and he said all the right things. You can't get enough of that type of integrity in your organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Vaughn, I have a question. Obviously, with the draft being over, you're seeing a lot of signings now with undrafted free agents and them going to teams. Obviously, you being an undrafted free agent, having a chip on your shoulder, what advice would you give the undrafted players heading into a new team?
Oh man. First of all, it's belief in yourself, man, because it may be in your family, it may be friends. It's always going to be somebody telling you what you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Then also, your belief gets shaken a little bit because you didn't get drafted.
Right.
You just got to believe, look, you as good as you think you are, and they messed up by giving you a shot. And that was my take. I told my agent, I was like, they effed up by giving me a shot. If they didn't want me here, they shouldn't have let me in.
Did you say that? That's great. That's great.
Exactly what I said. And I sent home a second rounder, a third rounder, and I ended up starting with Herschel. So
I love that.
There you go.
Should never gave me a key to the facility.
Exactly. I was like, yo, if you ain't want me here, you shouldn't have let me in. Because once I'm in, I'm staying for a little while. That was it.
I love that, though. I mean, it's so true. You got to have belief in yourself, or you're not going to make it at any level. Better yet, the highest level.
Because there's so many guys that, again, going into TV, you see a guy that plays at a certain school, and you're constantly being told how good this guy is, and you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get on the same field, and you're like, what? Seriously? And you're like, nah, I'm good. I swear to you, I called my agent after the first mini camp practice. Remember it like yesterday. And I told Kev, I said, Kev, if they give me an honest shot, I'm here. So you need to get your tickets. And he said, come on, V. He said, V, it's like that. I said, I'm telling you. I said, V. He said, V, you ain't got pads on. I said, it don't make no difference. I'm telling you what I know. And that was it.
I love that. Now, another question I do have for you as well. Obviously, you played with a bunch of Hall of Famers in Denver: Steve Atwater, John Elway, Shannon Sharp. Obviously, we're seeing Shannon Sharp just blow up in the media world and that whole thing, and you see him on the show with Skip Bayless. Now, my question to you is, obviously, in the public eye, we see his personality and just out there and goofy and funny as he is. Is he the same way in the locker room, or is it 10 times more than that?
Same exact way.
Okay.
Same exact. Like, so it's funny. We got this big group chat with a bunch of us. Standing in there at all the shit. Shannon is like, yo, I'm stealing because I've been doing this forever. This is what he's like, yo. So he's like, this is what I do. And so that's Shannon forever.
Okay.
That's how he's been from day one.
That's awesome.
What do you think? Speaking of John Elway for a second, how do you feel about the Broncos draft? I mean, Jerry Jeudy was my favorite guy in this draft outside of Jeudy, and I thought that to get him at 15 is amazing. And I thought they had a draft. What do you think?
This is probably their best draft, man. Probably since John took over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So many times he's tried to do it through free agency. I'm telling you, this is probably the best draft they've had. Didn't they get the boy from Penn State as well?
Yep.
KJ Hamler, yep.
Hamler as well.
Yeah, so
they got weapons now.
They were not playing. So it's going to be very interesting how that plays out.
And he had another great offseason. I mean, he had a great free agency offseason too. And I forgot draft day because it's just been weird. But they got Melvin Gordon as well. So, I mean, that offense is definitely – there's weapons around Drew Lock if that's their guy for him to be successful. So, in terms of that, I mean, to me, John hasn't hit on a quarterback yet. That may come. Maybe it's we're going to find out this year. But that defense is loaded over there too.
Hey, and I know the better receivers you have make you it makes the quarterback look a lot better. You get separation. You know what I mean? You can open the windows up a little bit more. It improves the quarterback a lot. So that's hopefully what we see here. We got straight 4x1 team here, baby.
Yeah. What do you think about the wide receivers that Howie Roseman drafted? Obviously, the addition of Marquise Goodwin.
Well, again, look, NFL, if nothing else, NFL is the biggest copycat league in the world. So once they see something very successful, they will obviously try to make it a blueprint, and everybody will follow heat. And I think this is no different. Speed kills. And one thing Andy has done over in Kansas City, it's everywhere, every position, he's trying to put you at a disadvantage. And speed is the first thing that will expose you. And it covers up a lot of mistakes, and it covers up a lot of things that you don't do well. When the guy's just faster, it's hard to make up that. So, I love what they did during this draft, and it'll be very interesting on seeing it on the field.
Yeah, Mahomes, Carson, similar in terms of being able to get outside the pocket, extend plays. Russell Wilson, another guy, obviously like that. But I think when you put speed around guys like that and things break down, now you got the big ball. Now you have the big play, the explosive play. And that's sort of what this offense has been missing. Obviously, we know since 2017 hasn't been explosive like it was. We had it week 1 last year where you saw Alshon and Deshaun, and you said, "Well, it's going to be a great combo," and it was taken away very quickly. So, I think some of these guys can stay healthy with the young additions. We're ready to roll.
Now, also, I think people tend to forget during that playoff run, Pat Mahomes, he wasn't thought of as a running quarterback. He did his little, he did his, staying alive, but for the most part, he wasn't a running guy. During that playoff run, he had to run more than he has since he entered the league. Why? Because they start playing at speed safely. They got to back off, and they're 15 yards from the snap. So that might be another thing that Carson starts to see too. Get what you can get down, and that just keeps the chains moving, and it just frustrates the defense where you start taking chances, and then that's when the big plays hope.
I got one more question for you, Vaughn. We saw Miles Sanders obviously last year have a phenomenal rookie year.
Yeah.
I think the NFL is moving towards more of a 2-back system to try to keep guys fresh. We know how much we want fresh running backs in November, December, January. We saw Miles get a little bit banged up at the end of the year. Are you comfortable with what's on the roster backing him up in Boston Scott and Corey Clement?
Yeah, that's a good question. I still think they'll add some more. Clement obviously has shown that he's capable of doing it, at least his rookie year, but he got banged up as well. That boy Miles is a beast. He is a beast. And let's make no mistake, the transition from your rookie year to your second year is light years. So we haven't even seen the game slow down for him yet. So understand that. So some of the things, some of the punishment he might have took last year, that's going to change just because just the understanding. I remember my second year, the things you saw was so different because the game just slows down. You're not going 100 miles an hour. So he'll be better just by himself. But do you need to add some more backs? Yeah, I definitely do. I think they will. It'll be interesting who they add, but I definitely think he could use some help.
Yeah, I've been big on Devontae Freeman, just another explosive weapon. Might cost a little too much, but this is probably the best name out there. Carlos Hyde's been everywhere. I don't really love him everywhere.
It all depends on how long he's out there. If he's out there long enough, that price goes down. So it'll be interesting how that. But I definitely understand what you're saying. Also it seems like you need more versatile. I don't know how Freeman he became less and less versatile. They used the other guy that went to San Fran more in those situations. So I don't know if he will be that guy.
Tim P's got a question for you, Vaughn. He says, "Hey, Vaughn, I have 2 sons who are really small but good ball players. They've dealt with some coaches who tell them they're too small. Did you deal with that at all? And what's your advice to them?"
All the time, baby. All the time. Again, it goes back to that belief. You're going to hear everything, too small, to too slow, whatever. It's you're gonna hear a bunch of it. Let them talk. You do your thing, believe, and keep working. Just keep working and improve on your strengths. That's the biggest thing. Understand what you bring to the table. Too many times when we're a smaller guy, we try to be the big guy. That ain't our strength. Running through people ain't what it is. I mean, be strong enough to take a hit when you need it, but if you got to work on your wiggle, your footwork, understanding. A lot of times it's the mental part of the game because they always expect that you're not gonna want to pick up the blitzer or what have you. You got to work on them little things, bring that to the table, and that's gonna separate you.
Chrome asking a question: do you think Zach Ertz will sign an extension here, or he gets traded after this year?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think he will sign the extension. I think his relationship with Wentz and him being our true go-to guy for the last 2 to 3 years, I think he's earned that. And he's, again, you can't have enough quality people in the organization. I think he's been a guy that's represented the organization well.
Absolutely has. Julio Vargas says, I bet someone told Sproles he was too small.
All day. Exactly. You're going to hear it. And let's face it. You got people crazy enough, a guy too big. They always got an opinion. It's about you and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But they be the first one talking about, can I get a ticket?
Yeah, you're right. You ain't right or wrong there, Vaughn. You ain't wrong.
I knew you was gonna make it. Can I get a ticket? Nah.
Now,
tell everybody about you.
Now you were undrafted free agent, right? So we just signed Andre Killian Jr. He from down there. We just re-signed Clement. Where does that make him sit there? He's in this kind of position where you don't know if he's going to be able to make the team or even the practice squad. So, what do you if you're talking to him, what would you say to him going into a camp?
Basically what I just said. You got to look. You got to do some self-evaluation. What was you good at last year? What are the things you need to work on? Improve on your strengths. Also improve on your weaknesses. Understanding what they're looking for. They want you versatile. What did you have a problem with? Was it slashing, hitting the holes? Do you need to work on your pass protection? Do you need to work on your routes? Whatever that is, that's what you need to bring to the table. You got to understand it's a double-edged sword with a free agent. Mm-hmm. It's something that's obviously celebrated when you make the team, but understand when you make it as a free agent, this is what I dealt with every year. Every year my name was on the chopping block. Somebody decided, it was somebody's decision in the organization not to draft you. So when you got picked up, and not only got picked up, made the team, somebody was wrong. And from there on out, they're constantly trying to prove that they were right. Mm-hmm. That's real talk. I'm telling you. That's how it works. Somebody made a bad decision. And because understand, if you're on the roster, somebody they brought in is not on the roster now. Mm-hmm. So that's a double wrong. So they're trying, behind the scenes, trying to prove that they were always right. So you're always on chop block.
Now the other side of that is with obviously the virus is going to affect things and stuff like that. Do you think not having that off-season programs and stuff is going to affect some of these rookies affecting this early on in the season, not being able to really get on the field, get snapped, and be able to perform?
Yes and no, because it's always, you got a small window anyway. Think about it. Unless you are drafted high rookie, you got to make your way up the roster anyway. So or the depth chart. So you only got a small window to prove yourself from jump. Yes, would it be? But at the same time, that same stress is on everyone. I don't think it'll be anything different. Especially when we talk about free agent. You really, again, you're a body being brought in. That's really what you are to begin with. So for you to make some headway and you actually are up in the depth chart and they're actually looking at you, that means you did some things very early in the game. And that's usually not done in your early mini camps. It's usually you don't get me wrong, you can hurt yourself, but I don't know how much you can help yourself in early mini camps. It comes down to truly when you get on the field in the pads and the habits that you formed and the goodwill you form, you got to keep adding on to that.
Yeah, that's why when you look at, you're talking about undrafted free agents, and then you look at guys like Sidney Jones and guys that are well invested, they're going to get every opportunity to get it right before that 5 years is up. They'll get every opportunity because nobody, for Howie Roseman, he doesn't want to be proved wrong. And it makes sense. And his ego.
If I got some money into you, you gonna get a shot, man. I mean, literally, when a free agent beats you out. Now again, we're talking about high draft picks because at the same time, it is a money thing too. Would I rather pay if I'm a guy, if I'm a guy that's making X and you got another guy that's making half of what I'm making and we're doing the same things. Now that guy that's making more, he's put himself in harm's way too. So it's also a money thing. But if it's not that close, and I got and a guy has gotten a signing bonus of some considerable amount, that again, economics is economics. It's hard to beat that.
It truly is. That's why guys get chances, and sometimes it pays off for guys, and other times it hurts other guys. A guy like Andre Dillard got a chance to make this team because there's not outside of Miles Sanders and from Boston Scott. It's unknown. You don't know what Corey Clement. The body hasn't held up in 2 years, so they're not going to put a ton of faith in that. If it does hold up, it's a win for us. But in reality, you could see, that could be an undrafted guy that does make this team.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because he has a skill set that translates right away, explosiveness. And that stuff translates right to the league immediately. Hey, can I take him to the house?
I could see him being the second returner on kickoffs. I can see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, Vaughn, obviously sticking to the undrafted stuff, obviously we were talking about earlier how you had the chip on your shoulder and proving people wrong and that whole thing. Once you got to Denver and won that Super Bowl and you were on the mountaintop, you were on the peak, what kind of went through your mind? What were those emotions like, obviously coming in undrafted, and just what were you feeling? Just knowing that you made it.
Yeah, look, apart from, your first game in the NFL, meaning you made it, and this is what you worked your butt off to do, and you made it. The Super Bowl is the next thing, meaning, you dream about a Pro Bowl or some individual honors, but who doesn't have in the backyard talking about playing in the Super Bowl?
Right.
So when you finally make it, it's kind of crazy, man. And I remember, and it also goes with, I played in the Big 33, and back in my day, Big 33 meant something. Not so much now, but back in the day, Big 33 was a big thing, and it was Maryland against Pennsylvania. And I remember, and I never forget this. They in at one of our first meetings, they said it's never been a Super Bowl played without at least one Big 33 player in it. And that still holds up to the day, by the way. But it's never been it's never been a Super Bowl played without at least one Big 33 player in it.
Okay.
So it's one. I remember it, and that was a high school all-star game. So, sometimes when you go off on reaching a goal, you don't know if you're on the right track or not. So when I heard that, I knew that not only am I on the right track, I mean, they're talking about Super Bowl, not just NFL, make it to the Super Bowl. And it was funny. We had three big 33 players in that game.
Okay.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
That might be more than the craziest I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, look that up. It's never been the Big 33 that I don't know who they play now, but at my time it was Maryland against Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's never been a big 33. It's never been a Super Bowl played without at least one big 33 player in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, my final question for you, Vaughn, aside from obviously winning 2 Super Bowls, what was your favorite non-championship memory in your football career? Whether it be high school, Pee Wee, college.
Oh, okay. Man. Well, I had to go back to the first game. First game as a pro. Obviously making the team and also scoring on my first professional NFL game, and it was in the vet against Arizona Cardinals. So yeah, I remember that like it was yesterday.
Okay.
I remember that one too.
It was funny. I threw the ball to the ref, and Freddie Barnett, he went and got the ball for me and gave it to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, do you still have that football now, or?
Still got it. Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
I got you. So, Vaughn, obviously, we're on the way wrapping up this interview. What do you have going on in your life right now that you want people to know about? Do you have anything going on?
Do I have anything going on? Family. I have a gym called VMS Movement. It's a sports performance place in Bucks County. Presently, I'm closed, but I do Zoom classes. But other than that, it's more the family, man. My kids. I got 3 kids in college, and my youngest. I take that back. I got 3 kids in college. My oldest, he lives in Hollywood. He's an actor now. And my youngest, she is a sophomore in high school. So that's it.
There you go.
Nice Hollywood. Right? Awesome.
Yeah. He's
doing the Tyler Perry TV show, right?
Yeah, he plays in the Oval. Yeah, and he also just did a Will Smith movie.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So he's doing it.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right, Vaughn. So obviously, appreciate the interview. It was a blast. It was a great time. Appreciate you having you. Maybe we'll have you again.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Y'all take care and be safe out there. All right.
All right, Vaughn. You too.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Now that was Vaughn Hebron, former Eagles running back, former Denver Broncos running back, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Again,
Spit it, man.
Thank you so much for coming on. That was awesome.
Spit it. I mean, he's been able to spit it from day one. I mean, he was one of my favorite when Eagles post game, probably one of my favorite guys to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because, I don't know. Maybe I agree with a lot of stuff he's always said,
Mm-hmm.
And it just, one of my favorite guys. I think Trey. Did Trey replace him there?
Yes, that's yes.
I thought it was Barrett. I thought it was Barrett.
Who?
Was it Barrett?
That was
Barrett Brooks, wasn't it?
Sorry, I don't know where.
Yeah, I think it was what do you call it? Trey was there, and then Barrett came on after Trey.
Regardless,
remember Trey went to 975. But anyway,
no, you're right.
Yeah, no, but that was awesome. Obviously, just getting to our last topic because we actually touched on some of our topics talking to Vaughn. Obviously, I think it kind of, what do you call it? Vaughn kind of eased my concerns a little bit about the Jalen Hurts topic, but
yeah, a little bit.
Just with the Howie Roseman continues to raise concerns as far as, like we talked about earlier, bringing back Jason Peters and obviously what that could mean for Andre Dillard, and also just bringing in Jalen Hurts, which kind of just raises some questions. So,
well, I think what he said that was spot on, and I think anybody, most football guys, get that or have said that in the past is putting guys in positions that they're successful in. So
right.
You're not going to bring Jalen Hurts in here to run the West Coast. So if that's your thought process, you're delusional. So what are you going to do? The same way you went a little bit different of an offense when Nick Foles came in, right? You got to be able to adjust there and cater to both strengths. Well, Jalen's strengths is more RPOs, and I don't mean just RPO read option runs. I mean RPO passes, right? The whole 9. Right, that whole list of RPOs, it goes on and on, right? That's more his skill set in the shotgun, seeing stuff from behind. He's not an under center guy, so it's listen, if he plays year 1, we're in trouble. Okay, make that clear. But 4 years from now, I don't know. But if he ever does play because Carson goes down or whatever the case may be, that's the offense he has to run, and then you hope the arm strength gets stronger. Because the one thing I will not agree on with anybody is the arm strength is not there yet at the National Football League. Lamar Jackson's arm strength was. That's the only difference. With all these other guys, Russell Wilson was a baseball player. He zips it, man. I mean, Patrick Mahomes zips. Plus, he's bigger. So, Kyler Murray zips. I mean, Baker Mayfield got a stronger arm than Jalen Hurts. So, you know what I mean? These smaller guys that are being compared to, in a way, they got stronger arms. Now, can it get stronger? Of course it can. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna doubt the kid. But that being said, you're gonna have to cater to him the day he does play. But it seemed like Vaughn liked the draft from Howie. I didn't get to ask him, when will my other question was when was Howie Roseman going to be held accountable for misses, distant misses, Right. And I think he would have said soon. But I think every year you make the playoffs, you give yourself another 2 years. So I mean, Super Bowl gets you 5, right? Boom, 5. So then you go playoff after, following with all the circumstances. I mean, his job, I know people out there call for it. His job is nowhere even close to being on the line yet. I mean, it's got to get ugly before that conversation comes up. I'm talking 6 and 10, 6 and 10, 6 and 10s before that conversation even comes up, no matter how much he misses in the draft. No matter how much. I mean, if you look at every pick, it's a semi-reach. Every pick. Jalen Reagor, like the kid, semi-reach. Jalen Hurts, like the kid, reach. Davion Taylor, like the kid, reach. The only guy that wasn't a reach and fell in your lap was Kevon Wallace, who was more of a third-round grade, but because safeties fell, he fell in your lap.
Right.
So every pick in your first 3 rounds is a semi-reach. Semi-reaches get you sitting with us. That's what semi-reaches do. So you got to at some point say, you know what? We're not always right here, but you pass up on the talents of the Patrick Queens and the things that you could have got. And forget the first round. You want to take Reagor in the first round? Fine. But then in the second round to come back, and you got the likes of J.K. Dobbins, you got the likes of other immediate impact guys that you do have holes for. It's I'm gonna use Stephen A. word. It's blasphemy. It totally is that you look to the quarterback position in the second round. Listen, say it again. You can love Jalen Hurts all you want. I love him as a kid. To me, it's a reach in the second round when another quarterback doesn't go 70 spots. So who's taking him? Who's taking him? Another quarterback didn't go 70 spots. There wasn't a run on quarterbacks. And I'll say it again. You want to be a factory, then don't trade up for Andre Dillard and draft Lamar Jackson then. But you had less confidence in Carson Wentz going into that draft than you do going into this one. That's what's mind-boggling. You had less confidence that draft than you do right now. We all agree on it. The guy played 16 games. He led a bunch of nobodies to a division title, right? That's not the year you go then address it now. There was question marks last year. Address it then. If you have concerns and you want to be a damn factory. That's the only thing that drives me crazy. Sorry. Had to go on that little get that off. It's been sticking off. I just don't. I'm not a Lamar Jackson guy either. But I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say I was Mr. Oh, Lamar Jackson's gonna be a great pro. But if you're concerned, then do it with him.
Right.
So what do you think? What do you think? Because you didn't use a first round pick on it, it's better. Unless it's third or past, first and second to me, you're playing him with the same fire, baby.
I'm with you there, Tommy.
You want your quarterback looking over his shoulder? Vaughn said it too, Steve. He said, listen, we all agree that this is this guy's locker room. We all agree with it. But at the end of the day, I love competition, but I completely agree with Vaughn that I love competition, but not this one at the quarterback position. Not in this city, dude. It's like Howie Roseman never went on social media. I understand avoid it, brother, but you don't see the divide over the last 2+ years? You just created it again. So you better hope he doesn't go down.
Right.
Because you're creating a whole nother thing that I don't got time for. You invested a ton of money, and then you watch John Elway surround Drew Lock with a shit ton of talent. Drew Lock stinks, by the way, in my opinion. I'm not a Drew Lock guy, but tons of talent. Look at all the talent. Sutton or
Courtland Sutton, yep.
Courtland Sutton, right? Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hammer. Oh, that's fun. Melvin Gordon. Oh, that's fun. But what does our GM do? Right? Jalen Reagor we like. But then you go in the second round, you draft his backup with other available guys to help your quarterback on the board. You go quarterback. If anybody's okay with it, you don't fully trust in Carson. Listen, I can't wrap my head around because I understand the need for a backup. I understand the need for an insurance policy. I'm totally on board with an insurance policy. I get it. But this year, and a second-round pick, you couldn't have did in the third. You couldn't use a couple of your fourths to get them. In the third. Just the way they did it, Howie Roseman again, ass backwards in a draft, and hopefully this draft doesn't come back to bite them like it looks like last year's draft is. Because you got 2 out of your first 3 guys who look like they can't play. Sanders can play. Andre Dillard doesn't look like he can play right now. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside doesn't look like he can play right now. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean they won't both be able to play. Right now, it doesn't look good. You can't keep missing. Because you aren't good enough at the end of the draft. So sick and tired of it. I'm so sick and tired of this organization missing on everything outside of linemen. Consistently missing on everything outside of offensive linemen. Miles Sanders, they got lucky with. They got lucky.
About to say that long. Yeah.
I mean, outside of that draft, who did they really hit on aside from Miles Sanders?
None. You get lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Mills falls in your lap as a contributor in a Super Bowl run. In the 7th round. You got Vaitai who fell. Listen, that's a good draft pick, but again, helped you out when your Super Bowl run. I mean, think about it. Late round picks, he has hit on some, but listen, late round picks aren't Pro Bowlers or all pros, man. They usually aren't. Doesn't mean they can't be. They usually aren't. You're getting them guys in rounds 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, and I thought, and Ken Elson, I thought Sudfeld was the insurance policy.
Yeah, but it tells you what they think about Sudfeld.
Well, great quarterback factor here, Jake.
Right.
Yeah, but I think the Sudfeld thing boils down to he won't be here after next year.
Well, yeah,
they're not going to pay him. He's going to hit free agency, and he's going to try to go play somewhere else. I think it's more along the lines of where they're going to be with Sudfeld. But the fact that he's anywhere, like Tommy said, anywhere before 3, you're causing a problem you don't need to have.
Dom, I'll tell you, Dom. So what happens if Carter gets hurt again in the playoffs? If you don't believe in him, don't give him the money. Don't give him the money then. If he's not your guy and you have concerns, don't give him the money then. So we can put a what if all day, Dom. Right? We can what if it all day. I'm not what ifing it. I mean, all in all my franchise guy or I'm not.
Right. That's obviously the big
I don't
thing.
want to play what if anymore. I don't want to play what if anymore. Like, listen. We have a stack up.
Sorry, see, what if he plays 16 and goes win 2 playoff games? Then what if? Play that whole freaking day.
Right.
What if he didn't get hurt in 2017 and went and won the Super Bowl? What if?
I just got a delivery.
Let's go, baby. And so let me tell you something. He goes down, and you think Jalen Hurts is the savior? Okay. Listen, it's not about the pick. It's about the wrong pick. When you watch a guy play quarterback at college, he's a great kid. But where is this star potential or top 10 quarterback like Howie Roseman's talking about? When did we see that? Maybe a little bit of Oklahoma, but it's a lot more wide open in Oklahoma. I didn't see that quarterback at Alabama. I saw a one look and go guy. That's what I've watched over my X amount of years of watching Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Did he throw the ball great in the SEC? Did I miss that? You can tell me we did in the Big 12. That's a cool story, babe. What are you doing in the SEC throwing the football?
Yeah.
Don't tell me about the Big 12. Everybody throws football in the Big 12. There's some of the worst quarterbacks ever on rosters from the Big 12 because they can throw 40, 50 touchdowns a year. So stop it with what a guy did in the Big 12 throwing the football. All right? What did he do at Alabama against the best of the best throwing the ball? Not winning because he won a ton of games. Throwing the football from the pocket. Because you could be all over outside the pocket and throwing the run and all that great stuff. At some point, you have to be able to throw from inside the pocket consistently to be successful in this league. You have to a little bit. You can't just be a run-around guy. You got to be able to throw a little bit in the pocket.
Right. Well, Fire, at the same time, he got benched, too. He also got benched in the national championship game. So, I mean, he might have taken you there, but
dude, now it's Jalen Hurts taking the. You guys missed the roster, huh? I mean, you guys must have missed the roster at Alabama over these years. This is why I'm not Mr. Joe Burrow either. You can't give me. I can't with these people. I can't. Do you understand how many first round picks are on that Alabama roster that went to the title games? Do you guys miss this? Did everybody miss this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, loaded. So I'm not taking a shot at Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying, like, it's obviously you don't trust your quarterback then.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of giving the big money, you should have drafted freaking Lamar Jackson last year then. Or 2 years ago, whenever it was.
Robert Myers also says, what would Hurts have to do to earn his pick? Oh, boy.
Nothing. I don't want him to do anything to earn that pick.
Well, the only thing, and God forbid, it's Wentz gets hurt and he balls out. But again, it's to the pick. It says you don't believe in Carson, like we touched on a million times since last week.
I'm going to throw up watching
John
Elway. I'm going to throw up talking about John Elway helping out Drew Lock. I'm about to throw up. I'm literally about to throw up all over this screen when I realized John Elway went and took care of Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I mean, it's almost at this point like they're waiting for this situation to happen organically and just like I said, we talked about it before the opt out where they can get out of
2021
not having all that money. Yeah, so like you don't know if maybe that's kind of
their plan or
yeah,
right.
And just kind of like, all right, we drafted him as an insurance policy. Then whatever happens. It's just like, oh well, he's there. We're good to go. And it's like what you guys have already been saying there. It's like almost like they're so stuck on missing on Russell Wilson that it's like we have to do this. No, you didn't have to do it right then and there.
Right.
We could have gotten filled out other things, but from the way I'm seeing it, it looks like they organically just want to let the situation happen. However the media deals with it, however the fans deal with it, they don't care. Just like, hey, our ass is covered.
I agree with Cannell. I mean, so much talent. Hurts is a great player. It's just that the need for him isn't there.
Right.
That's the thing, guys. If you're in win now mode, you're in win now. You're not halfway in. The water's not semi-warm. All right? It's not one way or the other. You're either all in the win. And at 53, that can be an impact guy, not a third-string quarterback right now. Who wants all these receivers, bro? I didn't say I want all these receivers. I'm not crowning John Elway's entire draft. But did he not help Drew Lock out this all season with Melvin Gordon and Jerry Jeudy? Forget KJ Hammer. I'm not even a KJ Hammer guy. Did he not help out his young quarterback with Melvin Gordon and Jerry Jeudy? Who did more to help their quarterback out this all season? Who did more? I mean, the Broncos. When the Broncos take,
we were promised a splash. We were promised a splash and got a dip in the water.
Nick, I don't think so, Nick. We talked about it earlier.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think this is the guy who won a locker room last year if he didn't already have it, but definitely, over the course of the last 4 weeks, I mean, a guy who definitely won in that locker room. So I think what Hurts coming in, I don't think it affects Carson one bit. And I don't think it affects anything like that. I think Carson's going to be fine. And I think, honestly, he's going to have the best year of his career this year.
Well, it's like I touched on, I think, last week. It's just theoretically with Deshaun staying healthy and you're going to have Goodwin and probably another rookie, obviously Jalen Reagor as well. You're always going to have the field stretched theoretically, right? And we saw what happened when obviously we didn't have Torrey Smith wasn't an elite player, but you saw what he did for Carson when he was able to stretch the field consistently. Someone was always open. Somebody was always open. And we saw we saw it week 1 this year when Deshaun Jackson was healthy. We saw how much that really helped Carson. So I completely agree with Tommy that I think Wentz will have another big year this year.
Monster, you're coming your way. Monster, you're coming. And it's going to make that pick look even worse. That's all right. I mean, people can like whatever they want, and it's not people misinterpret it. It's not a shot at Jalen Hurts. It's not a shot at Jalen Hurts. If there's a team that's looking for a backup, wouldn't that be the Cowboys?
Right.
Wouldn't that be some other teams that haven't locked up their franchise quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jared Goff to me stinks.
Yeah, he stinks.
Rams drafting a backup in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys think the guy who just signed the guy to extension to stop believing in him? I mean, come on.
Right.
He's the one who gave him the money, not me and you.
Mm-hmm.
The one who gave him the money just went out and said, "Out, I owe it to my fan base that this guy gets hurt again."
Yeah.
What do you think? Don't give him the money freaking 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
You jackass. What are you doing? It's one. Well, we're going to develop 2 top 10 quarterbacks. How about you get the one there first? On a consistent basis because he is without the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
How about you worry about that first? They worry about Jalen Hurts going to be top 10 quarterback. Grow up, dude.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is the top 10 quarterback ever in the National Football League. I'll stop doing this immediately. Okay? Immediately. We'll stop anything sports.
Mm-hmm.
Start talking freaking Disney movies and bullshit. If that happens.
Mm-hmm. Nick Diaz also says, I went to NDSU, same as Wentz. I'm a Wentz fan, but Skull Vikings for me. Beat the Cowboys' ass this year. No, absolutely, and we welcome all fan bases. We welcome the discussion. We can talk about your team. We can talk about anything.
I just see my boy Sean T go across the line, so we know we got our MMA fighters listening to us too.
Well, the black line says, what if Carson does get injured and Jalen Hurts comes in and plays well? You're all acting like it could never happen. I never said it couldn't happen.
No, we're not saying that at all.
What said it couldn't happen?
Where was that said?
Yeah,
all you said is that he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback. Doesn't mean he's not going to be a serviceable quarterback. Doesn't mean he can't win a game. We just said that there should be no reason we're talking about him taking Carson's job or Carson having to play this game with who's behind him.
Mm-hmm.
People out there think he's going to be.
If Carson,
I want to know. Tell us, fam. I mean, Jalen Hurts got the ability to be a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. People think that outside of GM speak.
Right.
I mean, if you guys think that, fine. Man, did I watch a different guy for 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Woo, did I watch a different guy? That's my whole thing. I just feel like that I missed it. Maybe I got to go watch more of them. Maybe I got to go back. I got to pull a Zach Baer and look for validation of my opinions. But maybe I got to do that, because maybe I'm missing something. What is Taylor? I love you. Tom, do you see Orlowski's analyst on how to use the Hurts? I think there's something there at least that make the pick hurt last. I seen it. I like a lot what Dan says, Taylor. This one I'm just not going to buy into.
Mm-hmm.
I like the kid, and he has a skill set. Definitely does. And I think in a right type of offense, he could be good. But
right.
Top 10, I just never going to buy it. And I'm never bringing my quarterback off the field unless he's hurt. So I just don't. I'm not going to guy that the offense sputters for a quarter and a half, and now I'm going to bring Jalen Hurts in and try to give a spark. Whoa. Not with this damn fan base, baby. I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Is Wentz better than Vic? Yeah. It's a hard one, man.
But they're two different styles at the same time. They're two different styles.
My God.
But boys, I gotta go do some lessons. I got everything off my chest. You boys can finish it up without me. Without me having to yell and scream. But
all right, Tommy.
Thank you again for jumping on with us, man. Vaughn Hebron. If you missed it, you can go back and listen to it, guys. It'll be up on all our platforms. It already is. And you missed it. Great insight from Vaughn, and maybe make you feel a little bit better about Jalen Hurts, and maybe make you feel a little bit better about Andre Dillard. So, it made me feel a little bit better about both. But we'll see where it goes. But boys, continue to crush it.
Mm-hmm.
And
have a good one.
I love
it. Tommy.
Read this one on the way. I read that one. Go ahead. I like that one.
Is as good as Mahomes. I mean, the potential's there. Obviously, Mahomes has the better arm, but we saw what he is capable of in 2017. But
but also you're sitting there saying like you have to remember we have to go back to what Carson's been working with not just the bad receivers, but the inconsistent play from even the guys that were going up into that season before.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're sitting there saying they're like he's just as good as Mahomes, yeah, I think that they're on that same class.
Right.
That potential to be elite class.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them already have the hardware. Obviously, Mahomes kind of did it on his own. Carson got hurt. He didn't. That's through no fault of his own.
Mm-hmm.
But we still have to wait and see. What happens this season. We've all agreed that if the shortcomings have come. We haven't gotten the weapon. We didn't get the draft we wanted. We didn't get the free agency one we wanted. We did more on the defensive line during the free agency than I thought. As much as I love the hardware pick, I would have loved to be able to do things in other areas to make moves in other ways.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because you still have Malik Jackson too. As great as it is that we're going to have three guys there, like was that really a necessity? No, but we already know what this team is. They value that defensive front. So this is what we're stuck with. We're minus that weapon, in my opinion, because of their decision to do that, and that's also for them. For the last 2 years, wasting their time on Timmy Jernigan.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it sucks, as much as he was valuable for us at the beginning of that run when he was healthy, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: you're still going to need an edge guy within the last 2 years. Did you address that during the free agency draft?
Right.
No, you still don't really have a guy on that defense who can get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Outside of Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, and Brandon Graham probably has a season or two left in him of quality production.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Blackline also says, touching on the Jalen Hurts thing, like he talked about earlier, he doesn't have to be Steve Young or just has to be better than Nate Sudfeld. You're meaning to tell me if Carson Wentz does get hurt, you're happy with Sudfeld? No, you're happy with Sudfeld and Hurts. No, but nobody said that.
Listen. Jalen Hurts could be freaking Trent Dilfer for all it matters to me. As long as he when he is called upon, he is there and he wins us games and doesn't cost us games.
Right.
That's his job at this point in time. Until the front office officially moves in for Carson, that's the only thing we want him to be. We don't need him to be the Michael Jordan, the backup quarterback. We don't even need him to be Nick Foles. We just need him to be serviceable. That's it.
And I think a lot of people just get this misconstrued when we talk down about the pick. At least with me, I know with me, and I think a lot of the panel just on A2D in general, we all love Jalen Hurts as a person. I have nothing wrong with him. He's a great kid. He's just a great locker room guy. You're not going to hear rumblings from him in the locker room or anything like that, talking down about the team or the quarterback. He's a great locker room guy, great leader. I love the kid to death. But that being said, you can't justify the selection where he was taken. Now, obviously, if he was there in like the third and fourth round, obviously, I know he wouldn't have been there, but theoretically, if he was there in the third and fourth, I wouldn't have an issue and we wouldn't be talking about it. It wouldn't be a big deal. But it's just the fact where he was selected is why everyone's kind of just up in arms about
it. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things, man. Like I get what we have all have been beating this drum. Like, listen. There's nothing wrong with Jalen Hurts, the person, the quarterback, or anything it is. It's the fact that when you look at the grand scheme of things, of have you missed on this, how you already have salary cap problems because you were too loyal to guys for that. You could not afford to do this year.
Right.
You could afford to do it in later rounds where you could play with things. Tommy beat that to death. It was damn near 100 picks for another quarterback. You didn't have to do this. You should have still picked your guy, and then if you were worried about it, you were already going to make trades later in the draft to get more capital to do. You then just trade back up and get them.
Right.
Instead of causing this whole thing where here we go again, we're going to have a controversy for no reason other than we wanted this guy and we wanted to we want to develop. I get the quarterback factory nonsense. I really don't want to hear it right now because we just have so many other needs. Is it great that we're going to have this here? That we like I said, I think it's more along the lines of why they picked him so high is because they're going to let Sudfeld go. If they're going to let Sudfeld go, that's free up more money. But also now the roster spot, they're going to wind up having to draft another quarterback or sign one.
Yep.
Between now and next season.
Yeah, and Blackline says it absolutely right. Acting like it was out of the realm of possibility for him to play. I hate I hate to pick two. I had him on my own mocks going in the second round, and not to us. Yeah, no, none of us did. And I hear you completely. Like, again, the talent's there. He has talent. He just doesn't have as strong of an arm, and just his ability, and just you look at his throwing motion and a bunch of stuff like that. He's still a very raw talent. Obviously, things are there, and we saw his success in college. I'm not taking anything away from that. But the NFL is such a different game. And people talk about it all the time. He doesn't necessarily get the velocity on the ball like obviously Carson Wentz does, and some of the other top quarterbacks. So obviously, like, there's some things you can learn, and some things that are just genetic gifts, honestly. But at the same time, I feel like I have to say this every show. Nothing against Jalen. Nothing against Jalen at all. Nothing against him. I love Jalen. I love Jalen Hurts. But why pay your franchise quarterback that money and pick another quarterback in the second round? And again, that to me, and we'll beat it like a drum probably until the season starts. But I just don't see how you justify the pick when you pay your quarterback $100 million 6 months prior, 6 or 7 months, however long ago it was. Ryan Ellis also says, Howie did the right thing by not trading up. You don't know if a receiver will be a bust if they will be good. No, you're absolutely right. The draft's a crapshoot. I hear you.
It's not the fact that Rager's going to be a bust or this one's going to listen. It's the fact that you're reaching. Tommy reached, already touched on it. You've reached, and they've done this year after year, and what has it for? Nothing. You've gotten maybe out of the last 5 years less than a handful of guys who produce for you on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So if you sit there and tell us on one end you're not going to trade to go get the players during the season and trade the draft capital to go get proven guys that can produce for you, and then you bomb on your draft, you can't sit there and play both sides of it.
Right. And Blackline also says, but he played better than Baker and Kyler at Oklahoma last season. No, I agree. I hear you. I hear you completely. But at the same time, college is a completely different animal.
I still don't think anywhere we said his play last year was terrible. We just said his arm is not quite NFL ready. He still needs polishing. He shouldn't be starting. That's all we're saying. Where he is right now at the pick he was taken, it was a bad value. Regardless of how high they had him on the board, they liked him or whatever. It's just a bad value. That's all everyone has been saying this entire time. We don't hate the kid. Do we want him on the team? Yes. Do we want him to be successful if he happens to be playing? Absolutely. If he happens to play and something's going wrong, but yes, we want him. I feel like we're sitting here going in circles over the last week over it. Can we just? I mean, so we're at the point in time is like can this whole thing end so we can find something else to talk about?
Mm-hmm. And Ryan also says, we'll touch this question before we wrap up. What do you think about bringing Jason Peters back? We did touch on it earlier with Vaughn Hebron in our interview. You can check back earlier. We will have this on all the podcasts for him. So
I'll say it like this: we already touched on it. Positives and negatives. I'll say this much: he has a positive no matter what he does if he is in the house. Mm-hmm. The question is at the end of the day is what the role really is. And I think in reality, when we go back and look at it and things that are being said now, maybe they let his contract expire free agency to come and go for Dillard's sake of sitting there saying that this is your job now. Mm-hmm. And then now bringing him back after the draft to sit and saying like, hey, we're gonna need some depth here. Just to have, so he has somebody. He's not going to have a better teacher than in that locker room to teach him what he's going to have to do to prepare for this guy. Prepare for X, Y, and Z. Nothing better than Jason Peters. And then, God forbid, if someone goes down, you're going to have one of the a Hall of Fame caliber guy there. Regardless of what we feel about he kills us with penalties from time to time. Jason Peters is still a beast in this league at the end of the day. So having him in the house is an absolutely good thing. It's something that I think that is still needed because obviously we didn't feel that need, as far as that veteran lineman presence that you're going to need. It's not there. Mm-hmm. You didn't replace anyone with Big V. And as much as I love him, Jordan Mailata ain't the answer either.
No.
So, so like for anyone who's sitting there, against it, yeah, I can see it because of what we're talking about, the questions with Dillard. But at the same time, Jason Peters has a place on this roster right now, even if he's only at 60% of the capacity of the man he was last season.
Right. No, I hear you. Bob Curry says, "What about the linebackers we picked?" I mean,
outside of Stewart, what's there to talk about?
I mean, but again, at the same time, too, I think the linebacker that we drafted, he's a versatile guy. He can play a bunch of different positions. He has the speed. Realistically, I can see them putting him at linebacker, but I think long term, I think they see him as another safety playing along with Vaughn. That's how I see it personally. That's how I see it. I see him more as a safety.
And that's the other thing. Now you got to remember that the safety position is kind of held together with glue right now. I can see Kayvon if he balls out, he winds up pushing pushing Jalen out there. And then also you got to remember McLeod isn't going to be here too much longer. His contract's going to be
he has another, I think, like 2 years. So
this is what I'm saying. Like when we're talking about you're having security packages for your quarterback, when you have holes and things you need to fill on your defense and on your offense that you haven't addressed.
Yeah, but we've known this for a long time too. The franchise just does not value the linebacker position.
Well, it's not even about the linebacker position at that point in time. It's just the utter fact of ignoring what is needed to be replenished on your team.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Regardless if we're talking about them valuing the linebackers, let's forget about that. What I just said, the safety. McLeod definitely won't. We're not going to resign him. If we just let Malcolm Jenkins go, there's no way you're going to sign Rodney McLeod.
Yeah, well, he just got an extension, but I mean, he I think it was like a 2-year extension, but again, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, like next season we're going to have the conversation with him again.
Yeah. And Robert hits it right on the head. I believe Kayvon is going to be great. No, I think so too. I had him really, and you can look at the numbers. I'm not a big analytical guy, but as far as tackling goes, he was the best tackling safety in the draft. And if you saw him at Clemson, he can play. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that he can play. It's just this is such a crowded safety room right now. I still think he's going to get a spot regardless, but it's just a matter of I just want to see how he makes that transition into the league. You got anything else before we wrap up, Steve?
No, I mean I think we touched on all the topics for today.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy really touched on a lot of stuff too. Big shout out to Vaughn for his time today.
Yeah, absolutely, that was great.
Everyone with the questions in the chat. See my big man. CFFC champion Sean Teague was even tuning in. So big shout out to him for showing us some love today. Hopefully when everything gets back to normal, maybe we'll get Sean on talk some fight and stuff because I know he don't know a goddamn thing about it. As always, guys, keep showing not just us the love. The other programming we got on here. As far as Rob, Chuck, all the guys. And other than that, we got to do the shameless plug. Go get your A2D.
A2D
go get your A2D face stuff so when you go outside, you show some love too.
Yeah, right. PhillyDrinkers.com has all your A2D gear, all your favorite show t-shirts. We just got show t-shirts in. So
and make sure you're all subscribing on YouTube. Blow up YouTube. We need to blow up the subscriptions there. That's what we want.
Yeah.
but go ahead, brother.
I was just going to
wrap it up, man.
All right. Obviously, as always, we appreciate you guys. If you didn't get a chance because I saw some comments coming in late after our Vaughn Hebron interview, you can check out our Vaughn Hebron interview. Obviously, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Once this stream's over, and also we're on all the podcast forums. Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere. Just search ATD Radio, and it should be, and we'll be right there. But obviously, appreciate you guys again coming on, joining the conversation as always. Just keeping the conversation going. As always, we are brought to you by our sponsor, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton locations. Find them on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We are also brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK Services.com. Call Michael Ambrose. Tell him A2D sent you. Get yourself 20% off gutters, gutter guards, anything you need done outside your house. Michael Ambrose has got you covered. Go to ambuckservices.com. As always, Jake Friel, Steve Reichel. Steve Reichel.
You're never going to get this.
No, I'm never going to get it, but I'm going to keep doing it. But obviously, appreciate Tom coming on as always, and also very, very big thank you to Vaughn Hebron for coming on the show. Great interview.
Obviously. And make sure you guys are keeping tuned in because we got more planned for you. Don't miss out. I promise you.
And we'll check you guys next week on another episode of the Weekly Roundup. Later, guys.